Welcome to Coffee and Kung Fu. My name is TJ, and with me is Will.
As always.
We got a special episode for you guys.
Special episode for a special match.
I'm sure some of you guys have heard of that guy, DKU. I think that's how you say it.
Don't know. We probably could have looked that up.
I think that's it. I think that is how you say
I'll
it.
go with it.
I guess I'll first off say that when this guy started circulating around YouTube, I thought he was Superman. Like, he was the coolest guy. He's punching. If any of you guys haven't seen it, like, he's the dude that was wearing like a red jump tracksuit, this Korean guy, and he's like punching visors off of people's biker helmets.
Yeah, motorcycle helmets, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like for a demo he was doing when he was showcasing some internal martial arts and Systema kind of skills. He's also gone on to claim that he has practiced at least 15 different martial arts. That includes some internal styles from Chinese martial arts, Systema, Eskrima, and just a bunch more after that. Can't really list them all because personally, I think he may have dabbled in each, but I don't think he's
Right, I've
really.
gone to a boxing class, but I'm not gonna call myself a boxer. You know?
Yeah. That's honestly what I think happened. He just dabbled in a few for a little bit of time, and saw that there were similarities, and just claimed that as he kept training, you know, he kept getting better at all of them. I don't know. I'm not here to defame the guy, but we are here to talk about that match.
Yeah, and in the blue corner, across from DK, we have Bradley Scott, who is
A well accomplished MMA fighter.
Yeah, he's had some professional matches. I did watch some of his older matches. He was a lot more fit in those matches, so it's
Right.
hard to really compare the way he fought against DK and to his older matches. But he has skill.
Yeah.
The dude's not
He's-
a bad fighter.
As far as I know, he's been retired from MMA for a little bit now. I believe. I didn't quite research this, but I did. I do believe I'd heard he'd been focusing on boxing recently, not just because of the match, but I think that's just what he's doing nowadays. But as a fighter, as a martial artist too, dude has skill. Dude is an athlete. He's a warrior. So nothing bad can be said about him. At least skill wise.
Well, not to say this is something
Right.
bad, but there's definitely like boxing in MMA context and boxing in a boxing context.
True,
are two
true.
Very different things, and you could see that he's still struggling with crossing that bridge.
Right.
Like if you watch a boxing match between two boxers and then Bradley, like it's a very different atmosphere because you have different priorities and things to worry about.
Well, fortunately for him, it's an even bigger gap for DK to cross because he still made him look like he was bullying him. Honestly, it looked
Yeah.
like they were sparring, and
It did, yeah.
Bradley was just, letting him get some shots in, just to get his own shots in, try some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, about the fight, just coming from two average guys practicing martial arts. We're not professional fighters or anything like that, but about the fight, if you were fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to catch the actual fight, you would notice that DK did not have much of a leg to stand on, and that's it's a big unfortunate for me because like I said, I used to like this guy a lot,
Right.
and I was excited to see if he could, give a decent fight. I didn't expect him to win, but I was hoping that he would be able to apply a lot of the principles that he has, because a lot of the stuff that he talks about isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are hoping for the same thing, and like you said, like the techniques he shows
Yeah.
have functionalities, but I think a lot of people are broken because he in this situation was absolutely the underdog, and sure, everybody wants an underdog to win, especially if it's a likable, well skilled underdog. But the fact of the matter is, he's not a fighter, and so for people, my issue is honestly primarily with the viewers and fans on both sides
I see.
more than it is with the fighters because
Right.
people take it personally that DK lost or didn't. One dude I kept seeing the phrase special technique and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
he's not a fighter, man. He's a
You're right. You're right. He even claimed it after the fight that he is a meditator and a martial artist, not a fighter. Which there is a distinction between nowadays. There's this distinction between martial artists and fighters. Some martial artists are fighters, but not all martial artists are fighters. Not all fighters are martial artists. So, a lot of his stuff, I've noticed, reason why I kind of backed off of him from, because I was, personally, I was really invested in what he was talking about, and I would pick up things and learn things here and there that whatever he was speaking about. Like, he's the one who technically introduced me to the falling step, jab, in boxing. Like I said, he's got good stuff. However, I watched more of his videos and I started seeing him get more and more sensationalized. And, I kind of fell off because I was like, oh, he's got good stuff. Obviously, he's speaking some truth, but maybe he's got ulterior motives. Maybe he's not being as honest. And, seeing him fight the way he did, that for me, just to kind of, because I'm also, I guess, kind of one of those viewers, I took it a little personally. Because I was like, man, how you going to have me invested in you and you can't even throw a proper jab? But,
right. What's that thing Green Goblin said? Everybody wants to watch Hero fail.
Yeah.
I feel like that was not the case.
Yeah, yeah. I was really hoping for him to do much better.
Honestly, for me, like I like DK's content and everything, but backing up, when the Bradley and DK fight got announced, I was kind of like already irritated because honestly, maybe I just am ridiculous for this, but the fight card. It had your height, it had their height, their weight, whatever. And then at the bottom, it had stance, and it had nickname. And that really bothers me because I distinctly remember being in the 5th grade and wrestling with my buddies and being like, I'm the Undertaker, like, trying to make up a cool name for myself or something, right? Like, you're a 45-year-old man, like, I understand having nicknames, it's cool, I if you've listened to one of our episodes, we have a friend that we call Chubbs, that's fine.
Right.
I don't think it's appropriate for a professional fight card. I think it's a little ridiculous, even.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't care. And I'm not easily sensationalized in that way to where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start calling him master. Plus, like, in English, I don't know, how that sounds in Korean, but in English, I'm not gonna be like master to a dude who is not my Sifu, and honestly, being a person of color, I don't ever want to call anyone master. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's why I don't really say master. Like, oh, he's my master when I talk about my Sifu. Because, my Sifu he's an older white guy. People might start looking at me funny, like, he makes you call you master?
Good job, boy.
He makes you call you.
And the reason stance bothered me also is especially coming from a Jeet Kune Do experience, like I already, because of that, don't see a large value in stances, and even so, like let's say your karate stance or taekwondo stance or Wing Chun stance or whatever is perfect, pristine, top tier. Once you get into a fight, that hardly matters. That hardly matters at all. Sure, footwork and structure and things like that matter, but like if someone dips to your side and comes with a cross, you're not going to be thinking, okay, I have to shift my entire stance, put this back foot, make sure I turn all the way. Like, none of that matters. It's too fluid, it's too quick. And I'm sure some people's minds think that quickly, and they probably can't do that, but, you know, when your life's at stake, you're not going to be thinking about.
But in a combat sports perspective, you know, especially in boxing, they do have stances. They have,
Right.
you know, orthodox and softball, and all the strategies that come with either of them. And that's generally how a lot of combat sports people fight, but especially boxers, they choose one of the two.
Yeah.
I think there's even a third one, but I'm not too well versed in boxing to be able to tell you what it is. But that's how they base a lot of their strategies. That's how they're able to decide which one they're going to majorly fight in or whatever, and especially if it's comfortable for them. And I know that's how boxing gyms train people how to fight.
Right.
There's a lot of boxing gyms, like if you go in there and start switching stances and stuff, your coach, if they don't necessarily see you have the aptitude for it, they'll be like, how about you just go back to orthodox and
Right.
train that
But like,
instead?
it's the hyper focusing that kills me. Like, I can't imagine. Like, let's say you've been going to this boxing gym for a year, and you go, Coach, I want to do an amateur fight. He's not gonna walk up to the organizer and be like, oh, this is my dude. He's been training with me for a year. I think he's ready for his first amateur fight. He fights southpaw. He doesn't give a shit about that last bit of information,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to watch videos of your opponent or spy on your opponent or whatever and see what their stance is, so you can develop strategies, all right. But putting it on a fight card, I don't know, it seems ridiculous.
It is.
It's a waste of space.
Honestly, I always thought those stance things were put on the fight card after they've already been established and they've watched like at least 5 of their fights and said, oh, this guy mainly fights out of softball, so let's go ahead and put that on the fight card. Obviously, this is DK's first match, so
Right.
they wouldn't
Yeah. I
necessarily
mean.
have that kind of stance.
Yeah. I mean, with that too, like he like, again, he's not a fighter, and being a fighter, I'm sure whoever he had organizing his fight probably isn't a promoter, in that sort of thing specifically. So I kind of expected things to be clunky and sloppy
Right.
and things like that. So I'm not like broken up about it or anything. I'm not, but you know, we're here to talk about stuff, so I'm talking about it.
So let's get the obvious out of the way. A lot of boxing nerds or Ramsey Dewey nerds. We'll talk about that he cheated by having, I guess, flagrant clinching. Man, I cannot speak today.
Quinchy. It's the quinchiest.
He clinched too much, essentially. He got
Right.
to clinch too much without striking from it, essentially. A lot of it, and he even, if you watch one of his videos after the fight, he admits that was his strategy.